many lives have we lived where Bhagwan has been with us. He remembers them all, but we don't. This is a very special quality of the divine, that they are able to balance the equation lifetime after lifetime. This is seen even at the moment of Bhagwan Shri Krishna's departure from this earthly manifestation. The Bhagavad Gita has the distilled knowledge of all of Hindu philosophy. And in sharing the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan clarifies a number of topics that were covered in the Vedas already. In this section, we see Bhagwan talking about karma and yajna. But what was the need for this clarification? Why weren't these topics self-evident? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashtaf parantapa. This knowledge, handed down thus, in regular succession, the royal sages knew. This yoga, by long lapse of time, has been lost here, O Parantapa. This is Bhagwan saying to Arjuna, thousands of years ago, that the knowledge of the Vedas has been lost because of the long lapse of time. Imagine how old the Vedas are. And therein lies the power of Hinduism. Its ability for self-renewal from age to age. The ancient knowledge of the Vedas clarified and represented for the benefit of all. This, of course, was done by Bhagwan Shri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. But this work was also carried forward by the great Jagat Gurus, the great Acharyas that came in more recent times. These include Sri Shankaracharya, it also includes Sri Ramanujacharya, and it includes Sri Madhvacharya. And if you wish, at some stage, we will make a video detailing the contributions of these great saints to Hinduism and to all of our lives. Apart from renewing the knowledge that was lost, Bhagwan reveals yet another reason for sharing this knowledge with Arjuna. Sa evayam maya tedya yogaf proktaf puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam yetaduttamam. That same ancient yoga has been today taught to you by me, for you are my devotee and my friend. This is a supreme secret. In calling Arjuna a friend, Bhagwan responds to the plea that Arjuna had made in chapter 2, where he surrendered to Bhagwan and said, "Tell me decisively what is good for me. I am thy disciple. Instruct me who have taken refuge in thee." Bhagwan acknowledges this surrender and says, not only have you surrendered to me as a disciple, but you are my friend, and therefore I shall tell you this knowledge. We may call ourselves Bhagwan's friend, and we may say that we are Bhagwan's disciple, but we may also say that we have studied from Harvard or Stanford or IIT. But does that actually become true? It's not true until we have the certification from these institutions. But how do we get Bhagwan's certification that we are worthy of this knowledge as his disciples? Well, we get this because Bhagwan himself says that this knowledge is taught not just to Arjuna, but when he says you, he means you, the listener. He means me. He means every such person who comes to the Bhagavad Gita to study it. Bhagwan embraces us and wants us to learn this knowledge, which is why he has revealed it to us. But Arjun misses this and asks Bhagwan the question, Aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvatah kathametad vijaniyam tvamadau proktivaniti. Later was your birth, O Krishna, and prior was the birth of the sun deity. How am I to understand that you taught this yoga in the beginning? This is, of course, answering Bhagwan's point in the last video that he was the one who had revealed this knowledge through the ages, through the Vedas. In this question of Arjuna, we see yet another incredible feature of Hinduism, that as students, we can question the knowledge that is being revealed to us. We can seek clarification. We can even challenge the knowledge, as Arjuna does in this case. In a world where religion is composed of dogmas, of rules, of do's and don'ts, and where a God-fearing person is considered to be a good devotee, in Hinduism, we see a God-connected devotee is the good devotee. And where there is that connection, there is an intimacy that allows us as devotees to ask questions, just as Arjun does in this instance. And in response to this question, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vedha parantapa. Many births of mine have passed, as well as yours, O Arjuna. I know them all, but you know them not, O Parantapa, O scorcher of foes. Many lives have we lived where Bhagwan has been with us. He remembers them all, but we don't. This is a very special quality of the divine, that they are able to balance the equation lifetime after lifetime. This is seen even at the moment of Bhagwan Shri Krishna's departure from this earthly manifestation. Now, there are many variations of this story. The key is not to look for the differences from the version that you may know, but to hold on to this point that Bhagavan makes in this verse. Many lives have we been connected. It so happened that after the Mahabharata war had ended, Gandhari, who was the mother of the Kauravas, held Bhagwan Shri Krishna responsible for the war. She believed that Bhagwan could have prevented the war, but didn't do so. And in her rage, cursed Bhagwan that his entire lineage, all of the Yadavas, would perish in the same way as her own Kuru or Kaurava lineage had perished. This started to come true over the years, because the Yadavas, who were so proud that Bhagwan himself had appeared in their lineage, started to become corrupt. And this corruption knew no bounds. Bhagwan Shri Krishna's son himself, Samba, once decided to play a prank on a number of rishis who were visiting Dwarka for Bhagwan's darshan. He dressed up as a young lady and pretended to be pregnant, and his friends took him to these rishis, and bowing down to the rishis, he asked, "Oh rishis, tell me, this child that I am carrying, will it be a boy or a girl?" Now the rishis could see through him, and one of the rishis in his anger cursed him that you are carrying a mace. That mace will be the cause of the death of your entire kingdom. Lo and behold, a mace appeared. And when Raja Ugrasen was informed of this, he told the boys to grind it up into a fine powder and release it near an area called Prabhas. Now, of course, the sea doesn't just take everything that's put into it. It returns it duly to the shore. So this powder of that mace was delivered to the beach, and on that beach it started to sprout reeds that were as strong as spears. Bhagwan, knowing that the end was near, told the Yadavas to go to this Prabhas beach and perform various austerities and sadhana for their own spiritual evolution. But the Yadavas, so drunk on power, decided to go there and indulge in merriment and drinking. And in doing so, eventually their drinking led to quarreling. And the quarreling led to fighting. These Yadavas, so drunk on power, took out the reeds and started to attack each other. Those same reeds, the same grass that had been created from this mace because of Samba's foolish mistake. And in fighting with each other, they killed each other and ended the entire leadership level of the Yadava race. Bhagwan, knowing that this was happening, decided to retire to a place called Bhalka and there contemplate on what to do next. When the mace had been ground, there was one piece that could not be broken. And so that piece was simply thrown into the sea. That piece was then swallowed by a fish. That fish was caught by a hunter called Jara. And this Jara, finding this sharp object, decided to attach it to an arrow. That arrow, on that day, whilst Bhagwan was resting, Jara fired at Bhagwan's feet, mistaking that to be a face of a deer. You can imagine just how crestfallen Jara was when he realized that he had shot Bhagwan in the foot. Bhagwan was a great warrior. He didn't need to go because of an arrow shot in his foot, but he decided this was his opportune moment to leave. Why? Because the hunter Jara in this lifetime was in his previous life the Vanara Vali, and this Vali had been shot by Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra in hiding. So in the same way, to balance the equation, Bhagwan Shri Krishna accepted the shot when Jara was in hiding. And just as Vali gave up his life on Bhagwan's arrow, so too did Bhagwan decide to end his appearance on this earth to clear the equation that he had with Jara and Vali. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. Many lifetimes have I walked with you. Now, we may listen to this and think that that is all well and good for Arjuna and Vali. But what about us? Well, I ask you, doesn't Bhagwan reside in all of us as this very life itself? As this Paramatman, that spark of divinity that is inside all of us that causes us to do whatever we do in this world? If we took away that spark of life, will we be able to live? At our core, there is a divinity inside all of us. And the Bhagavad Gita teaches us how we can connect to this core in such a way that once we have connected, we will never be disconnected. This is Bhagwan's promise when he says, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. We may ask, how do we realize this truth? Our entire Hindu culture has been built as an infrastructure for self-realization. To take but one example, every morning when we light a lamp in front of the divine, we may think that that lamp is being lit for the divine, but truly it is being lit for us, so that we may see that the divine spark that we see outside is also within us. This isn't just an emotional declaration of my own, but it is revealed in the Kathopanishad. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. I cannot experience the sun and the moon and the stars. How can I even experience this burning lamp that I have lit for you, O Divine? In experiencing you, which is the divine spark in my heart, I am able to experience everything around me, and all of my experiences are down to you, O Paramatma. This is at the heart of our religion, a way to transform our identity from our limited ego to be eternally connected to the divine spark inside one of us. This is the knowledge that Bhagwan reveals in the Bhagavad Gita. This is the knowledge that we have been trying to share for the last year, so that us as young Hindus may be able to connect with this profound message. And if this message connects with you, then please do share it with someone whom you may think will benefit. We'll keep coming back. And if you want to watch our future videos, then do subscribe. This will take you only a moment, but is a huge encouragement to us in sharing this wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. My name is Dhumatkar. Thank you for joining us in yet another video showcasing the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. I'll see you again very soon. Namaste.